Okay. So basically, the definition of feed should go this way. That is, anything that is semi-processed or processed or maybe raw, when you feed it to your livestock, it becomes feed. But the material by itself is food. And food, we define it something as anything that is eatable, which is not poisonous, that gives you energy for sustenance, reproduction, and maintenance, everything. All right. So when you talk about food and when you talk about feed, one thing comes to our mind again. What is diet? So can anybody define a diet? What is diet? So you're talking about balanced diet, but we're just talking about diet. That is ration. Yeah.
So diet is the optimum amount of food for the possible activity for
All right. So let me just define diet for you. Diet can be defined in the context of humans as different types of food which we eat on a regular basis. So that's why we have something called vegetarian diet and non-vegetarian diets. All right. But when you talk about fish per se, and when you talk about feed in terms of diet in fish, it is nothing but the nutrients that are present in the feed which we would be preparing. What are the nutrients that are present there? Is it complete or is it not? All right. So there are 5 categories of nutrients which we all know: protein, carbohydrates, lipids, vitamins, and minerals. All right. In the case of fish nutrition, we concentrate mainly on protein as the central nutrient element because of the fact that protein is directly used by the fish to make protein of the flesh. All right. Now, why don't these things happen in case of humans? Because we use carbohydrate as the central nutrient for energy production. The reasons are quite simple. That is, in case of fish, it's an aquatic living organism. All right. So it produces ammonia as their primary waste product. And because of the ample availability of water, this waste product is removed readily, which is not possible in case of terrestrial animals. So what the terrestrial animals do is, we over the course of evolution, we have developed a new pathway. We call it the urea cycle, where the ammonia combines with carbonyl palmitate to form your ornithine, and then it goes down, and then you spend a lot of energy in removing the waste. So in fish, this pathway, which is energy consuming, is neglected from its metabolism. So it has more energy left for growth and maintenance. This is one of the few reasons why fish grow faster than any living terrestrial animal. One. The second thing is that it is a cold blooded animal. So it does not require much energy to maintain the body energy. All right. So these are few of the reasons why fish grow faster and why they use protein. All right. So when we make a formulation of the feed, we're going to take protein as the central nutrient because the protein would require the fish would require protein for its energy production, for its maintenance, growth, and reproduction. So the entire what you call the curriculum of feed formulation would revolve around protein. Next is this, that I think we have heard in the lecture before, that fish really do not go for carbohydrates. All right, this is a very recent and very heated topic as to why or if fish uses carbohydrate or not. All right, so they have done OGD, oral glucose test and everything, but it's still debatable. But we'll leave that aside. But the established data is this, that if we use carbohydrates at an optimum level, it would have a sparring effect on the proteins and on lipids. That is, it will give you energy, no doubt, and this energy that you receive from the carbohydrate would be an excess of energy to the energy produced from proteins and lipids. All right. So we keep carbohydrate in the formulation for the fact that it would help in sparing effect of and lipids, plus it would be an excellent binder of the ingredients. All right. Next, we would focus on lipids. Per se, fishes would require about 10 to 20% of lipids. Now, when you talk about lipids, it's a very big class of compounds because there you have glycerides, all right, you have fatty acids, you have cholesterols, you have phospholipids, all right. Now, when you talk about lipids per se, it is 10 to 20%. But when you talk about certain components of lipids, like essential fatty acids, like EPHA, eicosapentaenoic acid, THPA, docosahexapentaenoic acids, all these things, which we call it as PUFA, all right, are only a small fraction of the entire lipid parent, all right. So the the essential fatty acids will not be done, will not be what you call formulated singly, but will take the lipid as a whole, all right. So this would be about 10 to 20% of the feed, all right. And vitamins, what we really do is in the lab we don't do it, but vitamins, their requirements would be formulated based on the tissue concentration of vitamins, all right. So these are the 5 components we'll be touching upon, but like I said, principally number 1, protein, carbohydrates, and vitamins. We'll be using a what do you call the manufactured vitamins. Is it okay? With a small background, I would request my colleague, Dr. Lukram, to come and take over the podium here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will be telling you about the feed formulation, and then after feed formulation, we need to prepare the diets of the fish. So, so let us start, and why we have to just we can do a square method, Pearson square method, okay? But why we need to discuss is all about how to make a food. But what are the main sources? For example, different states or different locations have different type of the food sources. For example, you want to prepare something, so you have to look first for the cheaper source of the protein, maybe carbohydrate. Carbohydrate that is very much available in India, but when you start looking for the protein, it is difficult. So we have to find out a very cheaper source which is also available, as well as that can be sustainable ones. Okay, so let us start. And now, sorry, yes, why fish need food, and then also why we need to do the formulation. Okay, so I was making this for the ornamental fishes, as well as this is all about fish are the same, whether it is ornamental or the aquaculture food ones. So we, as Moses already told you, that we need protein. Protein provides the necessary materials to build muscle cells, tissues, as well as the requirement of the protein that ranges between around 30 to 45. There are certain fishes which may be of 60% protein, but they are carnivore in nature. So when you want to prepare a diet for carnivore fish, that may have higher protein concentration. They may not like 40 or 25, but for the Indian major carbs, it is okay. But when you go for any catfishes, you have to increase depending on the nature of the food. Okay. Next, they also need carbohydrates. So carbohydrate provide instant energy, and its requirement is between 30 to 50. For example, for a carnivore, if you make a 60%, then the rest will be taken as carbohydrate. Okay. So like that, when we prepared around 30% protein food, then there will be around 70, maybe 70 or 60% that can be carbohydrates. So now there is again requirement for the lipids. Lipid that gives the main energy source. As you all know, and then lipids maybe between around 4 to 8%. Okay, so 4 to 8% that should be included when we make a food. Now, another, as Moses told you, another one that is vitamin and also minerals. Minerals and probiotics that also include here. So minerals that helps will fish health and also they strengthen the bones. But where you get the vitamins? When you want to prepare a food, so from where you will get the vitamins. Vitamin C is you can buy, but the best thing for us is to buy like multivitamins. There are many multivitamins, and there is one cheaper one. What is its name, Moses? Supradin. Supradin is the best. One tablet is around like 1 gram. So you can use that. But you can grind it or you can dissolve in the water. Otherwise, you can just grind it, crush it, and mix it with the food. Now, sometimes probiotics that can also be mixed because that helps in the resisting the diseases, that also provides the nutritional advantages and also facilitates the environment of that aquarium. As you know, they also, like we eat probiotics like dahi, and then like that in the environmental condition means it is always better if your aquarium has certain bacteria that will help in maintaining the water quality and that can reduces the ammonia. So now, so this is the table. You can show protein for the different fish groups, all the fish group. But we cannot like prepare, we cannot give the adult food to the larvae ones. So there should be a difference. So like when the young fishes, for the young baby fishes, the protein level is little bit higher, like 40 to 45. And for the brooders, that is 30 to 35. And carbohydrate source is same. And the lipid concentration is different, like 4 to 6, little bit reducible. And then its next is 6 to 8 for the lipids. So what are the main food sources? Like fish in the wild on a large variety of, they feed on a large variety of food, and their diet depend upon the availabilities of the food in that particular environment. Like as you know that if in that pond, whatever available, they have to eat. But when we culture, that we can offer them anything depending on how much you want to grow them or you want to beautify, enhances the color, maybe disease resistance. So now food type also changes with the seasons. For example, I'm telling you, like when you are like culturing fishes in the natural condition, don't feed on the rainy days. Minimize it because they don't feel like eating. As the temperature goes down, they don't feel like eating. If you feed them at that time, there will be like lot of food that will be deposited on the floor, ground, underwater, and that will start decomposing, and that will lead to like increase in the ammonia level, that can lead to reduce in the oxygen level. So these things can be happen. So during the rain, you don't need to feed. Okay. So next is like sometimes like when we talk about the ornamental fishes also, aquarium fishes are maintained in closed environment. In addition, live food, pelleted, balanced diet are given, okay, for breeding as well as maintenance. Now, for breeding and cultured live food is the best, but you have to have extra 1 to 2 nursery tanks to produce zooplanktons and uninterrupted. Beside live food, supplement is required to satisfy nutritional levels. Actually, I'm putting some like live food because sometimes doing the culture of live feed is very difficult. because you need extra tank, you need extra effort, you have to make the cow dung poultry dopings. But when you want to produce in large scale, culturing with the live feed is little bit difficult. If you are doing for larvae, that is okay for certain like 1 week or two, but in the larger scale you cannot grow fishes with the live feeds. So that's why I mentioned here. So next is, again, on the top of the nutritional requirements, feeding behavior and their habit must be well acquainted, because you also need to know about the feeding behavior before preparing a diet for a particular fish. Whether I told you that whether they are omnivore, whether they are herbivore or carnivore, you have to look, and also like their habitats. Okay, now, and most of the feeds are important for the imported from the countries like Singapore, as ma'am told us, China, Korea, Thailand, and many countries. And to reduce these imports, we can formulate required feeds for the larvae and grow out stages with the locally available ingredients. That's how you can start making your own foods depending on the available natural resource around you. So preparing of good quality fish feed with the optimum level of the protein, carbohydrates, vitamin, minerals from the available source and diet is the best way. Okay, now again, fish feed and the feed ingredients are generally selected on the basis of availability. You have to check whether it is available, how much nutrient it contains, like composition wise, also the physical properties. Abne, like you have selected something and you put in the water and it dissolves and it becomes like a dust or something like that that can contaminate your water. Now, ingredients should be very good quality and free from pathogens. Whenever you eat any extra ingredient, that should be like free of pathogens. So I just, these are the base foods, but you cannot always culture them. But the thing is that it will be very good when you like make food, you try to mimic the nutrients which is present inside the zooplanktons. Natural food compare karo, that will be very good ones. So we have to analyze how much protein, how much carbohydrate are content. Then according to that, we can also formulate. So now these are the different sources of like plant sources. Okay. So here it is all about the carbohydrates. Actually, I'm showing you different maize, soybean meal, azula, then the spirulina here, groundnut cakes, and the carotenoids. So all these things, if you have, like even azula also, so you have to look in your locality. Okay, some of the like foods that can be like wasted and people are throwing it, but you can collect it and then analyze the protein. And even you don't need to analyze the protein. Most of these things already, their protein estimations, carbohydrate or lipid, that is already available in the website. So you have to just sort out, collect the source. Okay, so now like, so these are the certain like amounts, compositions of the carbohydrates. Okay, so like for example, when you take the wheat brands, it already contains proteins, that is around 9 to 5. Like that, usme crude lipids also here 2 to 8, fibers 4 to 12, and EP, that is and then you also have nitrogenous facial excretions S, and also they are mainly the protein sources, carbohydrate sources. If it is like with more of protein, then you can say that as a protein source. So these are the different things like now wheat flour, maize, rice, and the rice polish, soybean meal, groundnut oil cakes. But you can see why people having like very fatty when they eat rice. This is the one thing, because rice oil is there also. So like if you eat rice, that you may be little bit fattier. So these are the things. Okay, so fish meal is having good soybean meal is having very good amount of protein, and groundnut also, and the spirulina, that is algae, they are also having the good protein. And nowadays in many of the industries, okay, fish meal, that is very costly, that has been tried. Many people are doing research on replacing the fish meal, which is very difficult to produce. For example, you have to get those from the sea, you have to coat the fishes with fishes or whatever, then you have to do a lot of industrial process to convert it into fish meal. So people are trying to uh, find like replace soybean meal, okay, instead of fish meal. And you may be knowing, you may not be knowing about that, like America is producing huge amount of soybean meal. They are knowing that many people are going to use soybean as a protein source, so they are number one right now. Okay. Next. Okay, let us talk about the animal source protein. That was the plant. Plant also has the protein, but now you have to look for the real protein, which will be like available from the, which can be available from the animals. So like prawn head mills. Prawn, you have eaten the prawn, the muscle one, head portion, then it can be ground, and then that is called as prawn meal. Okay. Now earthworm, that can be also used as a source of protein. Then also like here, there is a silkworm. Here silkworm pupae milk. After like collecting the silk, their pupae can be used as a source of protein. So like that you can see, like for example, in your village, there may be some like other insects which are of like no value, but that can be like, you can check the protein and that can be used. Okay, so like that, it's liver meal, liver, and then you have powdered it into as a protein source as a liver meal. So now again we can check how much amount of the proteins are there and the lipids. Let us say fish meal, it is having 40 to 50, prawn meals 28 to 30 protein. Then also the silkworm, that is having 60 to 65%. That is so huge in the insect. So the world is now, the next generation food for human is going to be the insect. Many people have started eating insects because insect has a lot of good proteins. Liver meal, that is 60 to 65. Earthworm, that also have like 50 to 52. So when you look into the this thing lipid, this silkworm, they are also having good amount of lipid. So rest are the same, but yeah. So these are the other things. Now we can focus here only. Yes. This is about the minerals and the vitamins required for the ornamental fishes. So this much amount you will be available from those multivitamin tablets. These are the main composition, but sometimes you need not exit from these units. Okay, so these units you can utilize for different purpose, and then yeah, vitamin minerals now completed. So now selection of the food sources and preparation of pellet fish feed. So after the procurement of the raw materials, formulation of feed is essential. आपने collect कर लिया और उसको आपको formulate करना होगा. कैसा करेंगे? As per nutritive requirements of the species specific है. So आपका requirements है specific species होगा. And then उसके बाद आपको ingredients that are mixed for preparing the feed करना होगा आपको ingredients. Then to formulate a good feed, one must select commonly available good quality ingredients so as to make it palatable. आप जब प्रोटीन को ढूंढोगे उसको खाने वाला भी होना चाहिए, palatable, that is eatable. Sometimes I was thinking of making carbohydrate source जो मैं लेने के लिए सोच रहा था. फिगस करके एक प्लांट है ना, आपको बोटनी का होगा तो है ना, फाइगस, सॉरी फाइगस, इतना मतलब गिरता है. आई वॉज थिंकिंग मेनी थाउजेंड्स टाइम कि इसको मैं फिश फीड बनाने में डाल दूं तो क्या होगा. बट रिसेंटली व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड माय बायोफ्लॉग, उसके ऊपर एक ट्री था, रोज गिरता है. None of my fish is liking it, is not preferable, so it is not a good source. So if I don't know if we convert it into powdered form, they may eat, but इसको palatable होना भी जरूरी है. So next is
From which stage?
हाँ.
Like it started accepting the artificial food.
Actually, like I have done some during my PhD, I did. They like we can feed artificial diet from the 3 day onwards, okay? But it depends which type of the food. For example, that should be very minute. For example, if you want to make them and you don't have any diets, तो आपने क्या कर सकते हो आप, like you can make the infusoria, then eggs को उबाल के गर्म पानी में डाल दिया and then you stirred as much as possible, that will give very fine foods. वो भी ऐसा खिला सकता है. पर हमारा जो एक्सपेरिमेंट है लाइव फीड इज ओके, बट आर्टिफिशियल जो देने के बाद अचानक से हैचिंग के बाद देते हैं तो उनकी मोर्टेलिटी वगैरह ज़्यादा आता है. तो इसके लिए हमको इन बिटवीन दोज थिंग मैंने एक क्या किया, लाइव फीड पूरा खाना खिलाया. एक बार लाइव फीड खिलाने के बाद 1 हफ्ते के बाद उसको हमने आर्टिफिशियल में कन्वर्ट किया. एक में शुरू से ही मिक्स किया, आर्टिफिशियल भी खिलाया, लाइव भी खिलाया. तो दैट मिक्स वन केम आउट टू बी वेरी गुड ग्रोथ. उसका अच्छा ग्रोथ हुआ था मेरा एक्सपेरिमेंट. या दैट्स व्हाई. तो उसका क्या है कि हमने लाइव फीड भी खा लिया, उसने एक एक्स्ट्रा उसको भी मिल गया. तो बाद में इट केम आउट टू बी द मिक्स फूड दैट इज बेटर. बट देयर इज वीनिंग पीरियड है, एक वीनिंग होता है. वो अचानक से एकदम लाइव फीड खाया, उसके बाद अपने आप वो खा लेते हैं. ठीक है. सो नाउ द इनिशियल स्टेज इन फीड फॉर्मुलेशन इज बैलेंसिंग द क्रूड प्रोटीन. मोजेस ने बताया था प्रोटीन को ही ज्यादा देखना होता है, and also the energy level by using the Pearson square method. Okay. Besides protein and carbohydrate, if the fish required additional vitamin minerals mixture or any feed additive, then it can be included in the diet by reducing carbohydrate rich. आपको समझ में आ गया ना? कोई भी आप डालो एडिशनल, वो आप कार्बोहाइड्रेट वाला पोर्शन से घटा देना. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने खाना बनाने जा रहा है, उसमें आपने 1 kg बनाने जा रहा था, तो आपको फिश मिल लाइक 50 डालना पड़ा. पर आपने दूसरा जो है ना कलर इनहेंस करने के लिए या विटामिन मिनरल जो डालना चाहेगा, फॉर एग्जांपल 10 ग्राम डाल दिया, तो वो कार्बोहाइड्रेट वाला पोर्शन से रिड्यूस कर लेना. दैट इज द मैसेज. नाउ व्हाट इज पियर्सन स्क्वायर मेथड? ओके, it is an useful tool for the simplifying and balancing of the rasan जो आप mix कर रहे हो उसको, and it shows the proportions or the percentage or the parts of the two feed to be mixed together to give a percentage of the needed nutrients or source of protein, carbohydrate, extra. Okay, the amount or the quantity of the crude protein or carbohydrate source should be known first बिफोर मिक्सिंग और फॉर्मुलेशन. इसके लिए मैंने पहले दिया है कि आपको पहले आपके जो यूज करना चाह रहा है प्रोटीन सोर्स, उसके अंदर कितना प्रोटीन है वो आपको पता होना चाहिए. इवन दो लाइक हर जो है ना प्रोटीन जो सोर्सेस है अवेलेबल है, उसका एनालाइज किया हुआ, इंटरनेट में जाओ मिल जाएगा, इतना फ्लक्चुएशन नहीं होगा. तो दैट्स हाउ. एंड फाइनली वी हैव टू सेट द टारगेट परसेंटेज ऑफ प्रोटीन फॉर फूड टू बी फॉर्मुलेटेड. आपको एक होना चाहिए कि आपने देख लिया the fish which for the feed आपने जो बनने के लिए सोच रहे हैं, वो मछली आपने देखना होगा कि like what is his like feeding habit. ठीक है. if that is like carnivore, उसका प्रोटीन जो है ना आपने 40 to 50 बनाना है, आपने डिसाइड करना है. for example, if it is like a herbivore, then you decide I want to make a 25% protein food. That is also okay. So you have to decide depending on the feeding habit, okay, or its requirement. So now, so this is all about like how much like protein source आप use करना चाहते हो according to your fish, मान लो you can make 25, 30 का बनाना है बनाओ, 20, 35 का बनाना है, 40 का बनाना है, जो भी है तो आपको आप उसके बाद आपको बनाना होगा. फॉर एग्जांपल रिक्वायर आपने 1 केजी बनाना है, बाकी लोगों का भी या बहुत बड़ा जो आपकी फार्म में 200 केजी का बनाना है वो भी बना सकते हो. So depending upon the feeding nature of the fish, whether carnivore or omnivore or herbivore, we should know the target protein concentration of the feed to be prepared according to the need of the fish. Now, normally जो ornamental fishes जो हम करते हैं उसका जो the amount is like 25 to 35. That is quite okay. So now let us do the formulation using the Pearson square method. Okay. यहाँ पे like let us say wheat flour आपने लिया according to that list or whatever you can also do the analysis if you have doubt and if it is very new then as a zoologist or as a scientist आपके हर lab में आपके पास protein analysis करने के लिए method है, लोरीज हो गया, then आपके carbohydrate है, सब खुद कर सकते हो. If you yes we can do ourselves also to confirm. Now fish meal like 40 to 50 वाला है. Let us say हमने एक रेंज तो लेना पड़ेगा उसके अंदर कितना this will be the given. For example when you give in the exams to the students you will provide आप you make an artificial diet given उसमें hint में होगा कि प्रोटीन जो कंटेन है उस पाउडर में like आप बोल सकते हो 50 and carbohydrate है 13 और आप क्या बोल यू कैन आस्क लाइक 35% का एक खाना बनाओ 2 केजी का, ऐसा करके लाइक क्वेश्चन होता है उसमें. सो लेट अस पुट 25 प्रोटीन कंसेंट्रेशन एज द टारगेट प्रोटीन फॉर द फीड टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड. सो और आप डिसाइड करो 1 केजी का बनाना है, माइंड में मेकअप कर लिया. सो नेक्स्ट प्रोसेस इज लाइक ड्रॉ ओके 1 to 2 inch square place diagonally line across the अब you have to make a square, उसको बना लिया, then उसके बाद आपने क्या किया, you have to draw a line diagonally.
I think we can do this together.
Yeah.
We can just at the end of the presentation we'll have a small exercise
So
that you get to know how to do
now here
yeah,
you can place here. Okay.
So basically from step 1 it is the Pearson square method. All right. So we'll go one step after one by one. All right. So the first step is you draw a square.
Like
drawing.
नहीं कोई बात नहीं, आपने बनाना जो अच्छा रहेगा.
हाँ.
You can make a box.
एक box बना दो.
Box बना दो कोई भी.
Yeah. No need of the dimension. Just make a box. Yeah. Yeah. So in that box, where the two diagonals meet, all right, the center, there you have to write the amount or the required protein concentration of the feed that you would like to prepare. So here we have taken 25 as the target protein, all right. So the next is you write here 25.
25 you write here. Okay.
And the third step would be you would take the upper left corner and make it as protein source. Yeah, okay. Protein source here in this case is the fish meal. So when we say protein source, it means that ingredient which has the higher quantity of proteins. And on the left corner at the bottom would be the carbohydrate source. All right?
That is wheat flour.
That would be the wheat flour. So in any cases, you can take both to be the protein source. However, if you have to mix two ingredients together, like fish meal and a plant-based meal, so what you do is you place the ingredient with the higher protein concentration on top and the lower protein concentration at the below.
So next step.
So what you do is from your left bottom, you subtract the value of the protein concentration of the wheat flour with the central percentage of protein, required protein.
50 minus 25 it will be 25.
No, ऊपर जा रहा है.
So यहाँ पे गलत हो गया.
No, ऊपर. So follow the diagonal. 13% is the protein concentration of wheat flour. you would subtract with 25%, that is the required protein target. You will get here 25 minus 13 is equal to 12. Similarly, from your top left, you subtract 25 minus 50 and you put a value at the bottom. All right? So that is the step 4. Yeah. All right. So from your bottom left, you subtract with the target protein. You will get 12. All right?
You never do the plus. Whether if it is smaller, you minus from here.
No plus. So from 50, you do the subtraction, you'll get 25. It's equal.
ये equal to होना है.
This should be equal to.
कोई बात नहीं. आंसर हो गया. यानी सर बात हो गया. सब समझ दोनों सेम हम दोनों से
Okay. All right.
नहीं प्रेस किया था वो उसमें सेम हो गया. नेक्स्ट में ठीक होगा.
I think hopefully. So the next part is you add the product of the subtraction that you did on the top right corner and the top right bottom. So 12 plus 25, you'll get 37. To confirm if this is right, on your left corner, you do the subtraction again. You do the addition here, and you do the subtraction on your left corner. 50 minus 13 will give you 37. Is that okay? All right. Now, the next part may be quite confusing because we have not actually labeled it. So what we do is... So the next step, the sixth step would be you take this one, all right? So my protein source, that is fish meal, FM, proportion of fish meal that you have to take for your formulation would be equal to this value, 12, divided by the total parts, 37, into the amount of feed you intend to prepare. So here I think we have taken 1 kilogram. So let me just make this one 100 gram, 1000 gram. Okay? So this would give me, if you can do the math, kitna hai? Yeah, so this is a percentage. So this would be about
same.
Similarly, for the wheat flour, you do the same. This is equal to 25 divided by 37 into 1000 gram. Yeah. You'll get the required amount in gram. So he has taken here in percentage. So 32% is equal to 324 gram. And the fish meal would be equal to 675 gram. When you do the totaling, it will come up to 1000 gram. 675.6. This would be 3, 2, 4, and then 4. मतलब 32
व्हीट फ्लोर ज्यादा पड़ेगा इसलिए क्योंकि ये जो प्रोटीन है ना इसको ज्यादा यूज करने के लिए जो यहाँ से प्रोटीन है उसको कम करना है because the carbohydrate itself is having the protein na that we utilize. Okay, so next step here, so आपने उसको देख लिया, like the amount of the its like feed ingredients आपने पूरा multiply कर दिया, सब कुछ कर दिया. Let us say आप 10 kg बनाना है उसके हिसाब से, तो 10 kg into this, so आपका जो requirement है fish meal का, तो it will be around 6.75 kg wheat flour होगा, ठीक है. Wheat flour means you are using much more carbohydrate portion that also contains the protein. Now when you want how much amount of the fish meal is reduced. So the benefit is, like for example, when you use 6 kg of fish meal, that will be much costlier. For example, egg fish meal 1 kg that costs 100 rupees, okay, let us say, and you are thinking of like making a diet which is less than like 50 rupees. Okay, let us say आपने 1 kg का बनाना है, तो you are only using like 300 grams, so उसका cost effective है, okay, पर आपने carbohydrate use किया ज़्यादा, तो it's not so costly. So that by that, like you will be able to produce cheaper food. नहीं उसका
This is just to balance the protein content of the entire diet. Feed का जो final product जो आएगा, उसी के लिए we are using this formula to fix the protein content of that particular feed.
या यूज हो रहा है, नहीं या it means ऊपर से जो कर रहा है, that is to neutralize, equalize करने के लिए जब करते हो, तो you still need to take much more carbohydrate. नेक्स्ट में प्रिपरेशन में आपको क्या क्या करना है, दैट इज नीचे हो जाएगा, बता देंगे आपको कितना ml ऑफ वाटर डालना है फॉर 1 kg. देन इफ यू वांट टू एड, स्टेरलाइज भी करना पड़ता है, बट हमारा तो अभी मेचिन से बनेगा, तो एवरीथिंग दैट हैपन्स ऑटोमेटिकली, एंड दिस आर ऑल प्रोसेस यहाँ पे कर लेंगे. हमारा मेचिन आपने देख लिया, बट व्हेन यू वांट टू मेक artificial diet, as you don't have this big 25 lakhs machine नहीं है आपके पास, तो you can use this simple hand pelletizer. उसमें आपने डालना होगा, and then you rotate, and then you have to decide the mouth size of your fish. It is very small, then you can use the micron size. मान लो कितना mm का बनाना है diameter, वो बना सकते हो. For example, for bigger ones, yes, सबई में जो बनाता है, so you have to use it. बना लिया, उसमें दबाया, and then yes. So now pellets can be stored in an airtight container to avoid the moisture. It is also advisable to keep feed in a cool, dark place. उसमें store करना है, because it's protein. We should always take care of this. And now feed should not be kept after preparation, so it will be good to prepare required fresh food for fish every 2 months. Means we should not like prepare huge amount of food at one go. आपने खिला नहीं पाया, फॉर एग्जाम्पल 1 महीने चलना था आपका, 1 साल चल गया, तो उससे खराब हो जाएगा. सो फॉर कमर्शियल प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द फीड, प्रिजर्वेटिव्स लाइक सोडियम बेंजोएट at 0.1% can be added. ये वाला थोड़ा important है. Amount is 0.1%. हाँ, इसका तो आप उसका परसेंटेज निकालो 0.1. सो आपका अभी फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक्सरसाइज जो है ना, दिस कैन बी एन एक्सरसाइज फॉर यू. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल, you can prepare 50 kg of artificial diet, okay, which contains 25. तो आपका जो गिवन प्रोटीन सोर्स है, एक तो व्हीट फ्लोर है 8% दिया, ठीक है, आपको एक 60%, अभी बना लीजिए ये वाला एज ए लाइक असाइनमेंट, अभी बना सकते हो आप. आपका गिवन जो है ना, व्हीट फ्लोर जो है ना 8% है, प्रोटीन जो है ना 60 है, तो कितना रिक्वायरमेंट होगा, जो यहाँ पे जो कैलकुलेशन किया है इसके हिसाब से भी कर सकते हो. हाँ, हो गया. और नेक्स्ट एक और है, इसको भी आप लिख के रख दीजिएगा. इसमें 200 kg बनाना है, फॉर एग्जांपल एक बड़ा सा फार्म के लिए. एक मैं बता, एक दो स्लाइड दिखा के खत्म। ओके, उसको ये हो गया। स्क्वायर में लिख के रख दो, बस पूरा लिखने की जरूरत नहीं, स्क्वायर में लिख देना। हाँ, एक ही बस काफी है। बच्चों को अभी जो क्लासेस होगा ना, उसमें ऐसा वो काम दे सकते हैं। इन द एक्सपेरिमेंट्स यू कैन आस्क दिस क्वेश्चंस, ऐसा ही बना के। हो गया। बाद में कर सकते हैं। आ गया आ गया। सो एक चीज मैं बताता हूं अभी, नेक्स्ट जो है ना, आप बाद में भी कर सकते हो। सो आप जो है ना, कभी भी जब खाना बनाओगे, उसमें क्या साइज में बनाएगा, कौन सा फिश के लिए, वो डिसाइड करना भी जरूरी है। क्योंकि आप वहां भी मशीन में जाके आपने बना तो लिया, वो गोरा का बनाना है या मछली का बनाना है, मछली भी वो बेबीज का बनाना है या एडल्ट का, वो डिसाइड करता है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो कितना फीडिंग भी करना है, वो भी इसका हिसाब से है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल लेट अस से बॉडी वेट है आपका फिश का इज 0.4 to 0.1 बॉडी वेट है उसका, 1 ग्राम to 3 ग्राम है, एंड उससे बड़ा है। तो आपका ये इसमें देखो, आपको पैलेट बनाने का जरूरी नहीं इतना, मतलब 5 ग्राम्स तक का यू कैन नॉट लाइक अप टू 3 ग्राम्स आप ग्रेनुल्स टाइप का, पाउडर टाइप का खिलाइए उसको। एंड देन उसका कितना अमाउंट ऑफ द फीड बॉडी वेट पर्सन में खिलाओगे, ये जो है ना अबाउट लाइक यू शुड वांट नो कि फिश जो है ना, व्हेन दे आर लार्वी दे ईट टू मच, like 10 to 20 15% of body weight खाता है। but when the fish really grown up like 1 kg हो गया, तो 1% या 2% body weight खाना खाता है। ये भी हमको या मतलब खाना कम खाते हैं, पर बचपन में ग्रोथ के टाइम पे ज्यादा खाता है। देखिए आप यहाँ पे, इट्स लाइक व्हेन इट इज लाइक 25 ग्राम, तो वो 3% बॉडी वेट खा रहा है। ठीक है। सो आपको एक और चीज फीडिंग के बारे में मैंने बोला है, बिकॉज एक्वेरियम वगैरह जब हम रखते हैं तो उसमें ये जरूरी आता है, व्हाट इज अंडर फीडिंग एंड व्हाट इज ओवर फीडिंग। तो आपने कम खाना खिलाया उसमें, like आपने फॉर एग्जाम्पल व्हेन फिश डज नॉट एक्सेप्ट प्रिपेयर फीड और एनी अदर लाइव फूड मीन्स द फिश इज इन स्ट्रेस, वो भी आपको पता होना चाहिए। एंड चेकिंग द वाटर क्वालिटी करना होगा, ये सब कुछ लिखा हुआ है मैंने, बट आई कैन प्रोवाइड यू द पीडीएफ। लाइक ओवर फीडिंग दैट इज वर्स, आपने खाना नहीं खिलाया दैट इज ओके, बट इफ यू स्टार्ट फीडिंग टू मच दैट इज मच मोर डेंजर। उससे क्या होगा, वाटर क्वालिटी खराब होगा, एंड देन आपको पानी चेंज करना होगा, देन डिजीज वगैरह आएगा, फिश मरेंगे। ठीक है। सो इट नीड टू बी केयरफुल। So now another topic, like when you prepared, you can keep one more thing in your mind, ki if you are doing an ornamental fish and you want to enhance the color, so with the available natural resources you can use or increase the color. Okay, ठीक है। तो आपको ये सब फूड जो है ना कैरोटीनॉइड्स वाला, वो खिलाना होगा। ठीक है। सो यहाँ पे देयर आर डिफरेंट थिंग्स, कलर के हिसाब से मैंने दिया हुआ है। लेट अस से फॉर एग्जांपल, जो आपको ये वाला जो कंटेंट पिगमेंट जो है ना, ये सब खिलाओगे, उसमें जो कंटेंट देखना पड़ेगा। फॉर एग्जांपल मेरीगोल्ड का प्लांट, बीट रूट, ये क्या क्या है वो सब सर्च आउट करके आप उस फूड में ऐड करो, तो आप जिस कलर को एनहेंस करना चाहेगा तो यू कैन इंक्रीज द कलर। फॉर एग्जांपल ग्रीन करना है तो ये, येलो के लिए, ऑरेंज के लिए, सो दिस आर थिंग्स यू कैन अप्लाई इट। ओके। हाँ जी, टेस्ट का अल्टर अच्छा भी हो सकता है, कैरोटीनॉइड्स इज ऑलवेज गुड, एंटीऑक्सीडेंट वगैरह भी होता है, तो लाइक दिस कैन बी यूज। ओके। सो एंटीऑक्सीडेंट का भी अभी ध्यान रखना चाहिए आपको, लाइक स्पाइरुलिना वगैरह भी अच्छा है उसके लिए, इम्यून सिस्टम वगैरह के लिए। सो इट्स ओके नाउ। मोजेस हाँ कर दूंगा